Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land. We are honoring #Transformation Tuesday. We have an expert in the house. He is the wellness guru to the stars, Dan Holz, the co-founder of the Beverly Hills Rejuvination Center. I am so excited to be having this conversation with you today.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Great to
you.
be here.
Thank
It looks
you
like you're a little comfortable there, lounging back.
Yeah, feeling great. This couch is great.
It's great. Well, and you feel great, right?
I do. I'm happy to say at 57 years old, I feel incredible.
Wow.
And 20 years ago, I wouldn't have dreamed that I'd be here today feeling like I feel, but thank God for bioidentical hormones and gave me an opportunity to get my life back and my health back and feel incredible once again.
So what's that journey been like for you? You mentioned 20 years ago you weren't feeling your best.
Yeah, I found myself feeling kind of really depleted, and I was significantly depressed and never really knew it. I never really, if somebody would have asked me if I was depressed, I would have said, no, I'm okay. But, life just felt like a big rerun to me. It just felt like I was burnt out, and I didn't really look forward to anything. I was just kind of searching for reasons why I just couldn't get motivated, excited. I had lost passion. I remember specifically sitting in a movie theater one night in a really sad movie, watching everyone just crying and feeling all this emotion, and I couldn't feel anything. I just felt empty, and I thought, what in the heck happened to me,
And so, yeah, I think most people don't realize that sometimes apathy or depression is related to what's going on physically, their biochemistry and stuff. So tell us about that journey for you. Then what happened?
Well, I just, it's so funny, I went to the gym one day, and in walks my dentist. This guy is 70 years old, and he comes walking across the gym floor with a grin from ear to ear, and he's just got this bounce in his step, and I go, I hadn't seen the guy for like 6 months, and the last time I saw him, he couldn't hardly function, and you could just tell his energy was incredible. And I said to him, what the heck's going on with you? I go, you seem different. And he smiled at me. He said, well, I got a little secret. And I said, what is your secret? You got to tell me. And he said, I went and got my hormone levels checked. And he said, I found that I had a significant testosterone deficiency, and I've addressed the issue, and I feel like a new person.
Wow.
And I thought, testosterone? I couldn't even dream of the thought of going on testosterone. That was everything I was passionately against. I worked out my whole life, but my world is about just taking care of myself and eating healthy and working out. And I thought about hormones as a reckless way to, damage your health. And I never dreamed that, that you could actually, make such a transformation. I thought, well, if a 70-year-old dentist is doing this, maybe it's something I'd at least look at. So he said, get your blood work done, get it checked. So I did. And after getting my blood results, I found that, man, I was beyond belief deficient. And it was a major, major deficiency. And I started seeking help, looking for doctors for input on what might be causing it. Had no real success. 20 years ago, nobody even knew what testosterone was hardly. So I found that the dentist referred me to his physician. I went to his physician and was treated by him. And he was a great guy, and he had the best of intentions, but it was very clear to me that he knew very little about it too. He was just basically administering the product. And I felt like, I asked him a lot of questions, which I felt like he should have had the answers for. He didn't have the answers, and that concerned me. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I want to be safe. I want to be, doing it in such a way that 20, 30 years from now, I look back, and say, hey, I made a good choice. And so
Absolutely.
I started seeking information, and I wasn't real impressed with what was out there. But there was a endocrinologist from Europe coming to speak in Las Vegas at a convention that was called the A4M. And I decided to go to this and see if I could meet any physicians there that would be, really knowledgeable, and I could get on board with someone. when I went there, I quickly realized that there were about 5,000 people in the room, and none of them knew anything more than me. And we were all sitting in there just soaking up information. And I realized that this is a kind of a new frontier. This is something that is new. People don't know about it. They don't know much about treating. And it was kind of like the wild, wild west back in those days. And I thought, man, I'm not too excited about being one of the early guinea pigs here.
Oh.
And so I thought, I have to do everything I can to learn everything I can about hormones and how they affect my health. And so I got on this mad, passionate, drive to learn anything and everything I could about hormones. So, and it was never about starting a business. It was about my own personal health. And after a long time of just years of hard work, I just kept getting better and better and better. And it was just like the information came to me, and I got very lucky, had some very good, things happen, and came to a very good place. And the better I got, the more people were asking me to help them. And I kept telling people, look, I really can't. You have to start going to these conventions, and you have to do this and that. And I was trying to direct people to do what I did. And they just would go, hey, I got 4 kids. I can't fly off to all these conventions and do all these things. And I started feeling guilty about my own success. It was a very strange thing. I started feeling like every time someone asked me to help them, and I felt like I couldn't. So I tried to help develop a couple of physicians so I'd have places to send people so I could help people, right? And give them the gift that I had. Wow. But the problem was the physicians weren't that passionate about it. So I would send people there, and they would do their blood work and a couple of things, and then they'd just call me and say, hey, call Dan to find out what to do. And it was not at all what I had hoped for. So after a while, I just felt like I had to create a place where people could go, where they could get the help that they needed. But that was really why I created the company that I created. It was more as a passion to help others find their way back.
That's awesome.
And it's an incredible space you've created. I mean, it's truly transformation from the inside out, not just here in Beverly Hills, but there's multiple locations throughout the Southwest with plans to expand, right? So what is your vision with this company, the Beverly Hills Rejuvination Center?
Well, I never want to do anything small, all right? If you're going to do it big. And really, the goal was to help a lot of people. So you can't have one center and help a lot of people. For me, my goal was a minimum 100 centers in the U.S. I wanted it around the U.S. and even international, where a lot of people have access. So, my goal is just to create lots and lots of these places, and try to put the right people in them and teach people the way so that everybody's got a shot.
So what would be maybe 3 early signs that somebody should come to your center to get their hormones tested, to do their blood work?
Your heart is beating would be the earliest, right? Right?
Yeah.
If you have a heartbeat, you should be concerned about your hormone levels. So, and I say that, I see teenagers in trouble. Okay, when you start talking about ADD, ADHD, and all these things, I've got a lot of input for parents as to what causes these types of things and how to fix them without treating the hormones, but understanding how to. Basically what happens is, so you can look at somebody 13 years old and see that they're in big trouble already, all right? And how they get in trouble is eating disorders, okay? So it starts with challenges because they're going without food, and ultimately, so when the body's overexposed to heat, moisture comes out of the pores, right? So the body's in a state of dis-ease, right? So here comes moisture out of the pores. In the absence of adequate heat, the body starts to shake, right? We call it shiver, right? It's in a state of dis-ease. It's trying to make its own heat. In the overexposure to adrenaline, the body pushes down the other energy-producing hormones. So you end up with a hormone deficiency when you overexpose to stress. What causes stress? going without food, not eating properly, then the stress hormones are used to make food, and the body gets overstimulated, so it ends up causing all kinds of problems. So
So let's talk about like what would what are the kind of the benefits? So someone's like, okay, cool, my hormones are off. Like, what does that mean? That means probably higher energy, they sleep better. Like, what are all the positive side effects of doing hormone?
positives would be starting to feel so one of the biggest things that when you treat thyroid deficiency, you'll feel really calm and peaceful and relaxed once again. The anxiety goes away, the heart doesn't race, you don't skip beats, like, so the body calms. Sleeping becomes easy again. Sleeping through the night once again. Weight loss, body fat reduction, increasing the metabolism, and getting rid of PMS, these types of symptoms, fluid retention, emotional sensitivity, anxiety, all the things that come with estrogen dominance. When you get into menopause issues, so you're restoring the hormones, makes the brain function come back. You clear and sharp and focused again mentally, and the depression is gone, and it's really just.
It sounds like a miracle.
It
Right?
really
Yeah.
is a
Yeah, it
miracle,
does.
guys. It's shocking to me that 20 years later, that every single human being on the planet Earth doesn't know what their hormones are, and that they're not doing something about trying to optimize them.
And
But
how can people afford this? I mean, I'm sure this is kind of for the
there's
elite,
your
right?
challenge, right? So it isn't something that, that of course we are a cash business, so it does tend to, take some cash to be able to treat, although I find it reasonable and affordable enough, considering what it does for your life. In my opinion, it's well worth it. And
It's an incredible investment when you invest in yourself.
that's right. I look at my own life. If I hadn't done what I'd done, I can only imagine where I'd be today, but I wouldn't be where I am, that's for sure. So I did spend some money on treating my hormones, but boy, it's amazing what it did for me in my life.
It's a good way of putting it. The opportunity cost of not doing it is so much higher.
You got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell people where they can find more about your services and.
Well, so in Los Angeles here, we've our closest center in the general LA area would be West LA. We're over between on Sepulveda, between Santa Monica Boulevard and Olympic. We've got Corona Del Mar as well, so we got a great place down by Fashion Island there. So those are the two closest to kind of our little group here.
What about online? Where can people find you?
Online, we've got stores in Dallas, we've got stores in Las Vegas, we've got San Antonio, Austin, Scottsdale, Arizona. So and there'll be a bunch coming up in Houston here soon. So, and we're going to be all over the country very soon. We're on a mission here to get the word out and get the business out there where a lot of people can have access.
Okay,
Well,
great.
thank you for that mission and sharing your
Thanks.
insight. We're incredibly honored to be a part of your community.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks.
Stay
Great to
tuned.
be
We'll be
here.
back with more on Good Morning La La Land.